Why do you have to, like, when there's a problem? Oh, my God, the cat is attacking.
See, we said the cat would jump in. We told you.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.
And we welcome Bethenny Frankel. Hi,
Yay.
Bethenny.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing well. We're doing very well. And I'm glad that we could catch up with you because there are a few things we want to discuss with you. Are you in a discussion mode?
I'm in a discussion mode. I'm always in a discussion mode, I think.
Of course you are. I don't think we've ever been with Bethenny Frankel when she wasn't ready to discuss. Let's talk about the podcast, Just Be.
Thank you. Yes, I can't wait to have you on, honestly.
Let's start there. I would love to be on. Now, look, just as an observer, everything Bethenny Frankel has created and worked on, every project, it's every once in a while you got to okay, stop everything for a second. Let's talk about what we've learned. Let's talk about how we got here, and let's talk to other people and find out how they got to where they are. And I'm assuming that's sort of what Just Be, the podcast, is about.
It's really granular. It's really about non-traditional, circuitous routes to success with people that are undeniably successful, moguls, billionaires, but not just, by inheriting wealth, self-made, or, people who have really built a brand. And the most important thing for people listening who are building a business or doing anything, I've really stuck to the filter. I've never listened to a podcast, and I didn't even know what I was doing walking in, but I still was strong in saying, no, I don't want that guest. They haven't built a brand. They're just famous. They're just an actor on TV, respectfully to that craft, but that they haven't done this. So I wanted to really create a toolbox for people listening. How do these people do it in so many different ways? There's so many things in common that they have, and then dissimilarities. And I've just really crafted this thing that has grown into something so nice and exactly what I wanted it to be because I stuck to that filter. So I'm proud of it. I really love it.
And even though we heard everything you said and it sunk in, how many of us went to look up the word circuitous?
Yeah.
I love the word circuitous. Gandhi, we were talking about a big brand just the other day, and I'm wondering what Bethenny Frankel thinks about who you're talking about.
Yes. So you're talking about self-made, successful people and entrepreneurs. Do you find Kylie Jenner to be self-made? Because we argue about this all the time.
That's a great question. I think that whether it's her or whether it's Chris guiding her, it's not easy to stick to the program and adhere to the line. And she knows what her brand is. And sometimes she strays, and she is young. And I know that, she sometimes wants to say, screw it, I don't want to do this, because she's got to be pulled in so many directions. But yes, I do think that it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and say, she could have done it this way or could have done it the other way. So many young people screw it up. So many young people, can't stick to the line. And I think that they have stuck to the program. I mean, whatever program Chris laid out for them, they each have paved their own way and their own individual brand. And yes, I do think she has built a brand and is self-made. I mean, she was teed up, you know what I mean? Like you say Donald Trump is teed up, but many people are teed up and shit the bed. So, I mean, she was teed up, but you could easily get off course. Why isn't, Rob Kardashian was teed up too? He didn't do the same thing.
It wasn't in his passion.
No.
It wasn't there for him.
Yeah, so she is doing it and sticking to it and listening to what she's being told and doing some things her own way. And yeah, I mean, it's not that easy to make $1 billion,
No.
The Kardashians is a great example. Love them or hate them, they will be studied for many years because of what they have created. And I like what you said a second ago, Bethenny, about how there's a big difference between being a star and celebrity and being a brand. I mean, looking at some of the guests you've had on Just Be with Bethenny Frankel, Andy Cohen, definitely a brand. He's not just some guy who's on TV every night. Ryan Murphy, good God, look at all the incredible work he's putting out. He's not just another producer, director guy. He is a huge brand. Hillary Clinton.
Well, he is not the brand, but he has built a brand in television like that.
Right.
To people in the entertainment industry, what he is putting out is the brand. Do you know what I mean? Some people, the brand is themselves, like a Kim Kardashian with Paris Hilton. Jennifer Lopez herself is a brand, but she hasn't built a brand. So we have both going on. So Andy Cohen himself is a brand in being sort of like the modern Dick Clark, and Ryan Murphy has a brand in producing television, but they themselves are not the brand. Does that make any sense what I'm saying?
It does make sense.
I have a brand. Skinny
Well,
Girl
then,
is a brand.
I'm glad you brought that up. I want to reverse engines then. And I know Danielle wants to ask you a question about you and your brand as well, because look at what Bethenny has done. If you could interview yourself for your podcast, you would be a very interesting interview because, I mean, the skinny products and on TV, and I mean, the whole thing is a brand. And
I love
Danielle
the Skinny
actually,
Girl popcorn, by the way. I have it every single
thank
night.
you.
Every
Chime
single
in.
night we eat Skinny Girl popcorn.
I'm ready for the
thank
pizza,
you.
the cauliflower pizza.
The
Send me some of
pizza's
that.
divine.
Give us
It's
that.
sick.
I will
send
be,
it over. It's
I will make
crazy.
love to it as soon as it arrives. I love pizza so much.
How
get
dare
so
you waste
mad.
a pizza?
I get so
That's not a
mad when I
waste
go
of
to the
pizza.
store and they don't have Skinny Girl popcorn. It's all sold out. I get so upset. I have to.
Thank
It
you.
ruins my night.
But Danielle,
Thank you.
what
Yeah.
is your question for Bethenny? Because I mean, let's find out how she does it.
Yeah, so I know that you have so many ideas all the time and you're always like coming up with all these new things. So is your mind constantly going and constantly coming up with these ideas like here and there?
It is actually a problem. To be honest, it's not the best thing for me. When I used to produce events, I produced the Rock movie premiere on Alcatraz, multi-million-dollar events that are logistically terrible, and I was the best at it, and I mean the best. And my P&L was, I made the most money, but it wasn't that good for me. So I have to take time and say no to a lot of things, and I also have to control myself, which is very challenging because I am an idea hamster, and then I want to execute, and there are so many ideas that I don't even do. So it's very, very it's not great for me, and it's not, it's something that if I'm in a relationship, a person has to understand, but it has to be managed. I'm obsessively organized, and everything has to be perfect, and it's challenging as a person for the mania inside of me. So it has to be controlled. Yes.
Wow.
And interesting you brought that up because we've interviewed a ton of people on this show, and all of the people who are so successful at their brand and whatever they do, they are the people who can't turn it off. They can't. And see, I can turn it off, and maybe that's why I'm only successful at one thing. It's this. We do pretty well here. The thing is it almost disappoints me because I sometimes try to keep it on, and it turns off by itself. So I'm not one of you guys. In my business, we have Charlemagne the God. We have Ryan Seacrest. We have Bobby Bones. These guys are constantly thinking new shows, new ways to do this show, and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't. I turn it off and I go smoke a bone, sit by the pool, and yet they've been very lucky,
Well, Andy Cohen is more like you, but he's very successful because he's doing the things that he's doing, but he's not, he could go on someone's boat and chill out and also like not think about it. The difference too is that I also am like this in my personal life. So every single drawer that I have is organized within an inch of its life. There are every condiment. So I have this just full life mania about it. Like it's internal and I'm not running around screaming like Joan Crawford about wire hangers, but it's the reason I'm so effective. Because I don't miss a thing, not a thing. I forget, I am on top of everything, so it's very hard to keep up with me.
Well, then,
So wait, you don't have you don't have a junk drawer at home? Like everything's organized?
It's an organized, quote
gee.
unquote, drunk drawer. Yeah,
Wow.
junk drawer. I have a drunk drawer.
I want a drunk drawer. I got several
Yeah.
upstairs.
Drunk
Okay,
drawer.
but so I'm fascinated with your mind and how it works because you share that mind with those other people I was discussing a second ago. Do you feel like you don't miss a beat? You never miss anything because you never let a detail pass you by. In doing so, do you think maybe there are details that are passing you by in life that maybe you are missing? You're just not aware of? I mean, are you missing anything in your life? You're like, I'm not fulfilled in this area because I'm so hyper-focused in this area over here.
Well, I know enough to know myself to know that. So I've never had a nanny. I don't have childcare. And when I'm with my daughter, I'm 100% with her. And I feel very fulfilled in that. And and as present as I am in what I'm doing business-wise, I'm that present with my daughter. So check that box. And then I have a good relationship. I don't have a big social life. And everyone that knows me, that works with me, says that they have never met a homebody to the level that I am. I am always in pajamas. And I mean always. It's not something I just say. I only wear makeup if I'm being paid. If I'm being paid to do hair or makeup. So I stack. If I've got to do something where I am wearing hair and makeup and being paid, it's like, okay, let's do a social media post, let's do the popcorn promotion, let's do this, that, and the other thing. Then let set it and forget it. So I do have a militant balance in that way, where I just don't try to then crowd it with going out and being social and having, getting drunk and then trying to do work the next morning. And, my daughter, that's it. I have my relationship, my child, and work and philanthropy. And those are the buckets. That's it.
Well, philanthropy, I don't even know where to begin with that. I mean, the Be Strong initiative, it's not a foundation. It's every time there's disaster striking, I feel like you put on your cape and you fly in. Right. And I've been lucky enough to be a part of just a few of those things. And I can't say enough about what you do and what makes you sniff that stuff out and respond so fast. Why can't you be passive and just watch it on TV? Why do you have to, when there's a problem? Oh my God, the cat is attacking.
See, we said the cat would jump in. We told you. We weren't lying.
Oh my God. When there's a disaster in Puerto Rico, there's a disaster in Texas, wherever, Bethenny Frankel is like, I see you immediately going, we got to get going on this. We got to get going now. It's almost as if you're just obsessed in having to be a part of it to help out. What is that?
Well, first, I didn't even make the parallel of that skill set being identical to my business life, meaning I did not realize. I knew that I wanted to get involved in philanthropy in a meaningful way, and because I was in the liquor business, I couldn't do something with children years ago, and I couldn't find my way in versus just giving money and helping a little bit. And so when I saw what was going on in Texas with Harvey, I thought, let me get involved. And without going on and on about, several hundreds of thousands of dollars that we raised for that, and people turned me down every day for just 20 pairs of rain boots and mattresses and things. So I was nobody. I didn't have a brand in philanthropy. So then when I got involved with Puerto Rico, which you helped with, thank you, and in a substantial way, getting 53 planes in and out, and then barges and cruise ships, and doing, I think it was $15 million in aid there, that became, oh wow, I can do this. And it almost killed me, but I realized that it's like running a business, meaning it's got 100% the effort, but it has a massive ROI. So once I realized I have that skill set, when something happens and a lot of people are talking about it, and it's usually my social media followers saying, are you aware of what's going on here? And this is crazy. I then decide whether I can have meaning there and be effective. And if I can do it, meaning if it's, 25 hours on a plane away, I could help, but not in the same way I can help in Puerto Rico. Like we did a lot of stuff with Australia and had people on the ground there, but it wasn't the same as me going and really getting this whole thing going. So once I realized I could do that, that's how I do it. And each time I just say, okay, I can have an impact here. Let's go. Let me figure it out. I tell people where we're at, and I just give minute to minute updates to say, this is what we need, this is what we did, this is what we couldn't do. And people get engaged, and people feel empowered, and people communicate and connect, and it becomes this sort of revolution. And it's really interesting, and it's really effective, and it's contagious. So I now have a brand in that, and we have a warehouse in Miami that is bigger than a Costco, where one side of it is just lanes of everything from medical supplies, dog supplies, tractors, crazy stuff, like a Costco, where stuff is being delivered by major companies, Delta sending blankets, and Hint sending water, and Endless, Kind sending bars. And then the other side is stuff going out, where we have assembly lines now. So we used to have to run and gun and get people to send to the warehouse. Now we are like a Costco. So we're prepared. So something happens next week, boom, let's go, send the kits, send the survival kits to households. And it's so amazing. So I have a real brand in this now. So I built that, and I'm thrilled.
And so, by the way, we only have a few minutes left with you, so I want to make every second. No, never. No. I'm saying that because there are things we still want to pick your brain. Bethenny Frankel, of course, here. Her podcast, Just Be with Bethenny Frankel, really is. It's about brands and beyond. For instance, someone right here on this Zoom call, Gandhi. During the pandemic, she discovered she has many talents. One of them, artwork, as you can see in the background, and she's actually starting to build a brand. I mean, how do you just you can't just go to Home Depot and get the supplies and go home and build a brand. It's all starting somewhere. Gandhi, tell Bethenny what you've done and where you've gone so far?
So far, I mean, we started painting, then we started selling the paintings, then we took the little elephant and turned it into a piece of jewelry. So this is the jewelry line.
Wow.
And then, thank you. A portion of everything that we sell, we donate to the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, which is in Kenya, and they save elephants and take care of orphaned elephants, and it's just really important to me. But doing this has been really difficult. And then I see you doing 77 different things and think, she's got something there that I clearly need to figure out. So what is your best piece of advice for somebody starting out? Like, what is the most important thing?
Well, it's like I've built houses and done renovations, and I've done them right, where I've started properly, and I've done them wrong, where I just moved in and fixed some things, and then I never get it right, and I got to scrap it and start from the beginning. So what you're describing is just, you have to do one thing well. When I was doing the margarita, before that, when I was doing Bethenny Bakes, my wheat, egg, and dairy-free health food company, and each thing, I've had so many failures too. But when it was early, I had the failures. So now when it's really big time and the stakes are higher, thank God I learned all those lessons. But you got to start properly, and you have to, the sky is the limit. You just don't know how big this thing can go. So you have to do everything properly, from intellectual property to being organized, to not cutting corners, to what is the brand thread that all things adhere to. So you're just laying one brick with the caulk or whatever goes in between at a time, and building a strong foundation. And then you'll feel comfortable that the house of cards isn't going to fall because it's on something sort of just like shoddy. I'm building a plane while flying it, but I do have a strong, solid foundation, and I can do that. And people starting businesses, you have to be looking at the whole board. It's the chessboard. Be aware of the pieces. But you have to be doing both at the same time. Always be aware of the board, So you're looking up there, but you're in the car. You think you're going there that way. You may have to make a left or a right. You know what your destination is. You may have to swerve, but you're kind of doing both at the same time. And I think it's really important that, like relationships, things end up the way they start out. So start it out right.
Wow, building the plane while
Good
flying
to know.
it.
I know.
Okay, let me add that to circuitous. We've got a busy day ahead of us. I want everyone to listen to the podcast, Just Be with Bethenny Frankel. You know what? Even if you're not building a brand, you're still building a life. And there are so many parallels between all of these conversations we're having, and to hear about the success, to witness the success stories from so many different people, it gives you that extra fire to want to go out and do something on your own, something as easy as planting a garden or building a corporation or writing a play or whatever. There's a common thread with all of these success stories.
Well, meanwhile, a thread that's come through the show, I'm talking to successful people. Very often they're married or in a relationship with another successful person. So, quote unquote, successful relationships has been a real topic, meaning people have been together. Doesn't mean everything's perfect. They've been together for 20 years. What are the tools? And they're telling me amazing things. Like, it was a big secret and no one talks about, like, actually giving each other space. Like, people, it seems to me through all these podcast conversations, you're you and I'm me, and I need my own fucking space and you need your own fucking space, and it's not a dirty secret. So space has become a big thing, meaning nights apart and all that stuff that's supposed to be a dirty secret. You do, I don't fix you, I fix me. Where it's like, oh, you do that and you're not that and you're not what I want you to be. I fix me, you fix you. Giving each other a long leash, like all these things that I'm learning, literally learning every time I'm here about business, but relationships have helped my relationship.
And and my favorite books to buy or listen to are the ones written by people who compile these similarities between successful people. The things they have in common, they don't even know they have those things in common.
Yes.
And so being the host of your podcast, you get to see that. So we may have a book coming out soon. You never know.
Totally.
Bethenny, thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you guys
It's
so
always,
much.
Really, I need this cauliflower pizza right now.
We're going to send it to you. We'll send it to you. It's so good. It's the flour. It's not mealy. It's identical to pizza. It's crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sending it.
I'm in. And there's so many things to follow Bethenny about. For instance, Just Be with Bethenny Frankel, the podcast. Start there. Bethenny, thank you. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for being a part of our show today.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.